Manipulator of minds and psyches, Nyx is a frame that can enter the minds of her enemies and turn them against one another. As always, before we go over anything, I need to get my disclaimer. Builds for frames or weapons in these videos won't work for everyone, so it's best to find builds that work best for your playstyle. The information in this video will also be based on the current version of the game as of the making of this video, so if something seems outdated, it's most likely because it is. Okay? Let's dive in. Did you know Nyx's design comes from an early concept to have alternate genders of frames, starting with Excalibur in particular, thus why both Nyx and Excalibur have a similar body design, though this concept was dropped early on. Nyx is also based on the Nemesis armor used by Nadia Sudek from Digital Extreme's 2008 title Dark Sector. This would later become a skin for Nyx, further ensuring the connection. Stat-wise, Nyx is rather fragile. While having a reasonable amount of health, shield, and energy, she lacks by having a low amount of armor. Nyx's passive ability causes enemies to be 20% less accurate when aiming at her, except for when using Absorb. Turning an enemy into an ally, Mind Control converts a target enemy into an ally that attacks enemies on behalf of the Tenno. While controlled, the affected enemy is rendered invulnerable. For the first 4 seconds of activation, Nyx can attack the target enemy to empower it. The ability can be recast to end the duration. This can potentially kill the target enemy if enough damage was sustained during the ability. Mind Control's augment, Mind Freak, makes enemies affected under Mind Control deal additional damage. Weaken enemy defenses for your mind. Psychic Bolts launches a barrage of bolts of kinetic energy that fly towards enemies within Nyx's aim. Each bolt dissipates on successful hits and weakens targets for a short duration. Affected enemies have a percentage of their maximum armor and shields temporarily removed, and while infested units will also be slowed for the duration. Ancients and some Eximus units will also have their defensive auras disabled. Psychic Bolts will not target enemies behind obstacles unless either Nyx has a direct line of sight or the enemy is aware of Nyx within a short time period. The ability can be recast on enemies, but will not add to the defense reduction timer, and instead will be reset for affected enemies. Pacifying Bolts, the augment, grants the ability to temporarily stun enemies for a short time. Turn enemies on one another. Chaos projects a radial psychic energy that causes all enemies within the radius to attack each other, attacking whoever is closest upon activation of the ability, including any Tenno who will get too close to the affected enemies. Chaos can be recast while active, though only one instance of Chaos can be active at any given time, so enemies previously affected will no longer be affected. Though if it gets reapplied on enemies, the stunning confusion will also be reapplied. Chaos Sphere, Chaos's augment, creates a circular radius that affects enemies that enter its range for a fraction of its duration. Conjure all incoming damage and redirect it at enemies. Absorb causes Nyx to levitate in a meditative state, absorbing all incoming damage and becoming immune to all forms of crowd control. Absorb has an initial damage threshold that increases by an amount every second. If the damage absorbed in total is greater than its threshold when Nyx deactivates the ability, all the absorbed damage and their types are inflicted to every enemy within the blast radius with psychic energy. While active, Absorb drains an amount of energy per second, and will remain active so long Nyx has energy. Nyx is completely immobile while Absorb is active. Absorb's augment, Assimilate, allows Nyx to move while Absorb is active, but reduces the amount of damage caused by Absorb. Modding Nyx can go in a few ways. Flow or Prime Flow can increase the energy pool, Strength mods can increase the defense reduction of Psychic Bolts and the damage done by Absorb, Duration mods can increase the duration of Mind Control, Chaos, and decrease the channeling energy cost of Absorb. Range mods can increase the range of Mind Control and the radius of Chaos and Absorb. My build for Nyx goes as follows. Energy Siphon for the aura, Quick Thinking as a failsafe, Prime Flow to increase the energy pool, Prime Vigor to increase health and shield, Prime Continuity and Constitution to increase duration of Mind Control, Chaos, and Absorb, Cunning Drift to increase the range of Mind Control, as well as increase the radius of Chaos and Absorb, and Chaos Sphere to generate a radial area to affect additional enemies. Here's some ways to use Nyx in combat. Start off with Chaos, then cast Psychic Bolts and cast Mind Control on any enemy you see fit. And if found in a tight space, Absorb can be used as a last resort. And with that, we conclude our look at Nyx. Next we'll be looking at Banshee, so if you tend to have anything for that, leave a comment below and I might feature it in the next one. Just remember, when you want to turn the tides of battle, Nyx can cause enemies to turn on their minds. Until then, stay true, Tenno.